I've got 5 seasons to rebuild West Ham United. But here's the twist. Meet the wheel of random challenges, ranging from not being able to spend money on transfer fees to having to use a strikerless formation. Every season in this rebuild, I have to spin the wheel and take on the challenge the wheel gives me for that season. The goal is simple: win at least 1 trophy with the Hammers, either domestically or European. My name is Coach Roan and let's get right into it. Let's start off with having a look at the current squad, which I believe is good enough to fight for the European places, even though West Ham's real life performances don't look like it. The highlight of the squad has to be Declan Rice, our star player and our captain. It might be difficult to keep him at the club for the next 5 years, but my hope is that he will lift a trophy for West Ham United. Now I've got an idea of what kind of tactic and formations I want to use, as well as the players I would want to strengthen the squad with. But the wheel of challenges might make all those plans useless. All the challenges are listed in the description, but I'll explain each one when it comes up. So let's give the wheel a spin and see what we're dealing with for Season 1. The first challenge is called Who Needs Strikers, which means we have to use a strikerless formation. Back to the tactical drawing board. After a bit of tinkering, this is the tactic I came up with, where the shadow striker, the inside forward and the central midfielder on attack will hopefully provide enough goal-scoring threat to compensate the loss of a striker. And if I quick pick the squad, this is the 11 we end up with. A decent squad, but there's one change I want to make. I'm gonna lock in Scamacca in a shadow striker role. Since he'll be playing out of position, he wouldn't normally be selected, but I want a player there that has a real eye for goal. Now let's make some transfers to help the team play in this unusual formation. We didn't have a lot of money to spend, so I had to focus on where I believe the squad needed a reinforcement the most. Our first and only departure is Angelo Ogbonna, an aging centre-back who had his heart set on a move to Italy. So we spent all our money on his replacement, Josip Šutalo, an amazing centre-back from Croatia who I think can lead our defensive line for the next 5 years. So that leaves us with this team for the first season. Can we survive the strikerless formation? Let's simulate the first season and find out. Season 1 is done and I'm pretty content with the results. A 6th place finish means that we get Europa League football next season, certainly better than the current real life season. I also have to give a shout out to Scamacca, scoring 19 goals in his first season in the Premier League while playing in a position he wasn't even familiar with at the start of the season. The strikerless formation luckily didn't hamper him too much. But I am disappointed that we didn't at least reach a final in one of the cup competitions, especially the Conference League, where I thought we had a real shot. So this squad will need strengthening to improve in Season 2. But the Wheel of Challenges might have something to say about that. A new season, a new challenge. Let's see which challenge we'll have to face in Season 2. Our Season 2 challenge is called Young Boys FC, which means we can only sign players aged 21 years or younger. This does mean that we can drop the strikerless formation, and I've already changed the tactics to what I had originally planned for this team. So let's make our transfers for Season 2 and bring in some young talents to bring the squad to the next level. The budget is a lot better than the first season, so let's see what we can do with it. Deadline day has passed and we went big this season. Starting with the outgoings, Fabianski, our veteran goalkeeper, left on a free. Mikel Antonio didn't have a place in the squad anymore, so he left to Sunderland. Masuaku was out on loan last season and has been sold permanently for this season. Lanzini, Cresswell and Koufal were all decent players that featured quite a bit for us last season, but I think those are positions that we can improve on. And by spending a total of up to 92.5 million euros, I think we replaced the outgoings with some real quality talent. First up, our new goalkeeper, Trabin, a Ukrainian superstar to be, who was 21 at the time of signing. By paying his release clause of 23.5 million, we've got our goalkeeper for the next years. Replacing Cresswell at the left back position, we've got Miguel Gutierrez, a former Real Madrid youngster who again was 21 at the time of signing. Another signing where we had to pay the release clause. I'm very excited to see him bomb up and down the left side of the pitch. Our right back replacement is Ivan Fresneda, an 18-year-old wonderkid who got a boost in the last winter update. Spending 30 million on an 18-year-old might be a bit of a risk, but I believe he can become one of the best right backs in the league. And finally, to bolster the midfield, we've brought in the Brazilian Andre, a real all-rounder who was also 21 at the time of signing. Spending only 17.5 million for a player who immediately slots into the first team might just be the bargain of the season. And this is how the team looks after the Season 2 transfers, with all our new signings slotting in nicely into the first team. But I haven't even shown you the best deal of the summer. After months of interest from bigger clubs, Declan Rice decided to sign a new deal with West Ham, staying our captain for the next seasons. So can these young talents bring West Ham to the next level? Let's simulate Season 2 and see if we can improve on the previous season. Season 2 is done, and we've had some ups and we've had some downs. In the league, we've disappointingly finished in 6th again, and since Newcastle won the FA Cup, it's back to the Conference League for us. We did finish on a slightly higher point total though, so there's still something to be optimistic about. The Europa League wasn't much of a success either, with us being knocked out by fake Napoli in the round of 16. But the domestic cups is where we had our success. We got close with the FA Cup by reaching the final, but we've got our first trophy of the rebuild with the Carabao Cup. So the goal I set at the start of the rebuild of just winning a trophy is already done and dusted. So let's aim even higher. I want to win a Premier League or a European Cup in this rebuild. So can we already do it in Season 3? Well, the new challenge might get in our way. Let's see what it is. It's the start of Season 3, so let's find out what the challenge of this season is. Our new challenge is called Deadline Derby, which means I cannot spend any money on transfers. I can only get free transfers or loan players. Let's hope there's some great players running out of a contract. Another deadline day has passed. We've brought in some great squad players, and there's also been some massive sales. The first of 2 rotational players that have left the squad is Emerson, who has gone to Sheffield United. Joining him in the sales list is Tilo Kehra, who has gone to Almeida. The first big sale is Thomas Soucek, a great player, but he was replaced in the starting 11 by a Brazilian Andre, and he wouldn't sign a new contract. I'm not too fussed about him leaving, because we've got a great replacement in. But the player who I am sad to see go is Jarrod Bowen, one of our best attackers in these last couple of seasons. But like Soucek, he wouldn't sign a new deal, and his contract was running out, so I decided to sell him now and get some big money for him. On to their replacements, all of them being free signings. For our Emerson replacement on the left back position, we welcome Ryan Sessegnon to the team. The vacant rotational centre back position will be filled by Ethan Ampadu. As an addition to the rotation options in midfield, we've signed Harry Winks, but he's not our Thomas Soucek replacement. For that, we signed Sander Berge, a Norwegian international who's good all across the pitch. And to replace Jarrod Bowen, we've signed Eric Lamela, an experienced winger who's done it before in the Premier League. I'm hoping he still has 1 or 2 seasons in him at the highest level. And with those free signings, this is what the team is looking like right now. Maybe not a direct improvement on the previous season, but certainly a more well-rounded squad. And I'm hoping that the talent and signings of last season can continue developing into real superstars. And if all goes wrong, at least we set up West Ham with financial security for the rest of the rebuild. So let's see how this revamped squad with free signings will perform in Season 3. Season 3 is done, and what a season it has been! In complete contrast with Season 2, we've seen no success in the domestic cups, getting knocked out in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup quite quickly. But in the league we have found success, rising up 1 rank compared to the last season, now into 5th. And most importantly, we've achieved our biggest success of the rebuild up until now, winning a European trophy in the form of the Conference League. We have our domestic cup, we have our European Cup, and now there's only 1 goal left. In these last 2 years of the rebuild, I want to win a Premier League. And if you're excited for us going for that last trophy, you can tap that like button. But if we're gonna go for the Premier League in the next season, we're gonna need to strengthen the squad. Let's hope the Wheel of Challenges will go easy on us. Season 4's challenge is waiting for us, so let's give it a spin. Our next challenge is called Far From Home, which means we can only sign players outside of the continent in which our club is based. In this case, outside of Europe. The goal is the Premier League, the challenge is set, so let's make some transfers to improve this squad. And the financial security of only making free transfers is paying off now, with our largest transfer budget of the rebuild yet. Let's see what we can do with it. Quick little side note that happened between seasons. Due to the changes in coefficient rankings, we actually get Champions League football. Even more reasons to get some solid transfers in. Another deadline day has passed, and we've certainly used that budget. Let's first look at the outgoings. We've seen Benrahma move to Everton in his last year of his contract. The same goes for Maxwell Cornet. He had 1 year left on his deal and moved to Besiktas. And our last outgoing player is Eric Lamela, who decided to retire after just 1 season. But in that 1 season, he did manage to win a European Cup, so we thank him for his service. Now for the incoming transfers. And if you can't buy European players, there's no place better to look than South America. Our first signing is a Brazilian wonderkid, Vitor Roque, who can battle it out with Scamacca for the striking position. We continue our Brazilian trend with our new left winger, Galeno, a player with a lot of pace and a lot of flair. And we're not done with Brazil yet, as we needed some new options for the right wing position. So we brought in David Neres, another skillful Brazilian winger. But we didn't only bring in Brazilians. We also brought in Asprilla, a Colombian winger who can battle it out with Neres for that right wing position. So can this addition of South American passion bring us the Premier League? Let's simulate season 4 and find out. We've only gone and done it, boys. Not only have we won the league, we've dominated it, winning it by a 15-point lead. Even the domestic cups were quite successful, reaching a semi-final and a final respectively, but falling short in both. And while we got knocked out in a round of 16 in the Champions League, we did manage to top the group phase, so we do have a place in Europe's best. And it were the South American additions that made the difference this year. Galeno, for example, had 32 goal contributions across all competitions. And our wonderkid Vitor Roque has not only developed like crazy this season, he scored 36 goals across all competitions in his first season at the club. The Premier League won, wonderkids developing, it's time to lay back and no, of course not! We've got 1 season left and I'm setting the goals even higher. I want to win a Champions League or a domestic double. And of course we've got a final challenge to take on. Let's see what it is. 1 season left means 1 final spin. Let's get to spinning. Our final challenge of the rebuild is called 4 is for failures, which means we cannot use a back 4. A tactical challenge for sure, but I'm willing to take it on. After some slight adjustments, this is the tactic I'm looking to use, with 2 ball-playing defenders being covered by a central defender and 2 inside forwards on the wings, supporting the striker for goal-scoring threat. But to succeed with this tactic, we're gonna need some transfers, cause I don't think even Ampadu will be starting in a Champions League winning side. So let's make the transfers to support this new tactic and go into our final season. The final deadline day has passed, and I can tell you, we went for it this season. Starting with the outgoings, Flynn Downs, who has been a peripheral figure at best, has left to Hull. Since we lost an attacking player when moving to a free centre-back formation, we didn't have a place anymore in the squad for Pablo Fornals, so he moved to Krasnodar. David Neres didn't have the same impact as the other South American additions from last season, so I decided to let him go to Monaco for a slight loss. But once you see who I've replaced him with, you understand my decision. But the biggest outgoing transfer of this season was Sander Berge, a player I didn't really plan to let go. But once Liverpool offered me 58 million for a player I got for free just 2 seasons ago, I couldn't say no. That means we had a lot of money to spend this season. And believe me, we did. We spent nearly 150 million euros this transfer window, so let's see who we brought in. Let's start with the least exciting transfer. Since we added a centre-back to our formation, we needed some new players for that role in our team. So we added Eric Dyer as a rotational option for just under 10 million. But for the starting position in our squad, we signed Giorgio Scalvini, a wonderkid that has developed into an elite centre-back in our save. As we needed a replacement for Sander Berge, I decided to go for a fellow countryman. Mansberg joined from Manchester City. Another player that slots straight into our first 11. And our final signing is Leroy Sané, replacing David Neres on that right wing and hoping to provide some extra goal-scoring threat. And this is how our final team is looking like for season 5. I have my doubts about the formation, but I'm certain that the squad is of an elite level. So can this squad go above and beyond and win us a Champions League or domestic double? Let's simulate the final season and find out. The final season is done, and the question is, did dropping a back 4 help bring this team to the next level? No. We won just a singular trophy this season, and that was just the Community Shield. A second place finish saw us lose in the Premier League to Liverpool, and we got knocked out pretty quickly in both the Champions League as the domestic cups. Maybe a bit of an anticlimax for this final season, but across all 5 seasons we've surpassed the initial goals that I set for this rebuild, so I'm still a happy coach. There's 3 players I want to highlight for this rebuild, the first of them being Trubin, our goalkeeper. Joining us in the second season, this young talent has developed into quite a world beater. The second highlight has to go to Vitor Roque. This Brazilian wonder kid only joined us in the 4th season, but he hit the ground running and has turned into a deadly striker. But the final highlight has to go to our captain, who's been with us through it all, Declan Rice. This loyal legend has turned into the best player on our team, and arguably one of the best midfielders in the world. He'll surely go down as one of the West Ham legends. Now if you want to see another FM23 challenge, check out this video where I try to prove Ronaldo wrong with some of the best wonder kids in this year's game. I'll see you on the next video.